You've heard "I Will Always Love You" 1,000 times, watched Kevin Costner brood in sunglasses, and maybe even teared up during that airport goodbye scene. But beneath the Bodyguard's romantic drama and Whitney Houston's powerhouse vocals is a vault of strange, surprising, and shocking secrets that most fans never discover. Well, join us today as we take you on a ride to expose 20 weird facts about the Bodyguard you didn't know. Fact 20. The script that waited 16 years for the right star. The Bodyguard script was written by Lawrence Kasdan in the mid-1970s as a vehicle for Steve McQueen, but the legendary actor's death in 1980 left the project in limbo for over a decade. The film was originally conceived with McQueen in mind for the Bodyguard role, with the story crafted specifically around his tough guy persona and minimal dialogue style. After McQueen's passing, the script sat on shelves at various studios, with no one able to figure out how to make it work without him. Kevin Costner discovered the script in 1991 and immediately saw its potential, but he had to convince Warner Bros. That audiences would accept a romantic thriller with minimal action sequences. The studio was skeptical about a talky bodyguard movie without traditional action hero elements. What's fascinating is that the 16-year delay actually made the movie better. The script's themes of celebrity obsession and media intrusion became far more relevant in the 1990s than they would have been in the 1970s. Fact 19. Whitney Houston's terror about acting. Whitney Houston was genuinely terrified about taking on her first acting role and nearly turned down The Bodyguard multiple times because she felt completely unqualified to act alongside established movie stars. Houston had never acted professionally and was convinced she would embarrass herself on screen. She spent weeks declining meetings with the producers, telling friends she was just a singer and had no business trying to act in a major Hollywood production. Kevin Costner had to personally call Houston and spend hours convincing her that her natural charisma and authentic emotion would translate perfectly to film. He told her that acting was just being truthful in imaginary circumstances, which helped calm her fears. The irony is that Houston's nervousness actually enhanced her performance. Her character, Rachel Marin, was also supposed to be vulnerable and uncertain, making Whitney's real anxiety perfect for the role. Fact 18. The iconic a cappella opening that almost didn't happen. "I Will Always Love You" was originally supposed to begin with instrumental music, but Kevin Costner's last-minute suggestion to try an a cappella opening created the most memorable song moment of the 1990s. The musical team initially resisted Costner's suggestion, arguing that starting without instruments would be too risky for a major motion picture soundtrack. They believed audiences expected big orchestral openings for movie songs. Costner insisted they at least try it once, so they humored him and asked Whitney to sing the beginning without musical accompaniment. The result was so powerful that everyone in the studio knew they had captured something magical. In fact, a cappella opening became the most recognizable song introduction of the decade, spending 14 weeks at #1 and becoming Whitney's signature performance. Fact 17. The real Secret Service agents who went undercover. Actual Secret Service agents worked undercover as extras and consultants throughout filming, providing authentic details about presidential protection protocols that made Costner's performance incredibly realistic. The agents taught Costner how real bodyguards scan crowds, position themselves in rooms, and communicate through subtle signals. They also revealed the psychological mindset required to literally take a bullet for someone else. Some of the agents were so impressed with the film's accuracy that they later used clips from The Bodyguard in their own training programs. The movie became an unofficial recruitment tool for the Secret Service. The agents' involvement was kept secret during production because the service was concerned about revealing too many operational details to the public. Fact 16. The Dolly Parton connection that shocked everyone. Dolly Parton wrote "I Will Always Love You" in 1973, but she had no idea Whitney Houston was recording it for The Bodyguard until she heard it on the radio and nearly crashed her car from shock. Parton was driving through Nashville when Houston's version came on the radio, and she was so stunned by the arrangement and vocal power that she had to pull over. She later said it was like hearing her baby had grown up and become a superstar. The success of Whitney's version made Parton incredibly wealthy. She earned millions in royalties from the cover version, far more than her original recording had ever made. Parton joked that Houston's version bought her a lot of wigs. What's amazing is that Parton never felt overshadowed by the cover. She was genuinely thrilled that her song had found new life and introduced her songwriting to a whole new generation. Fact 15. The stalker letters that were too real. The threatening letters received by Rachel Marron in the movie were based on actual stalker letters that Warner Bros. Executives had received from obsessed fans, making the film's danger feel uncomfortably authentic. Studio security had collected hundreds of disturbing letters from individuals who had developed dangerous obsessions with various celebrities. The movie's prop department used sanitized versions of these real threats as inspiration for the fictional stalker's communications. Some of the letters were so disturbing that several cast members became genuinely uncomfortable reading them, even though they knew they were props. The psychological profiles of real stalkers informed the character development. The authenticity was so convincing that it later attracted actual stalkers who began targeting Whitney Houston, blurring the dangerous line between fiction and reality. Fact 14. The Miami location that became a real security nightmare. The Miami concert scenes turned into a genuine security crisis when thousands of fans discovered the filming location and created dangerous crowds that nearly shut down production. Word leaked that Whitney Houston was filming a concert scene at a Miami venue, and fans began arriving in massive numbers, creating traffic jams and overwhelming local police. The crowd became so large that it posed real safety risks. Kevin Costner and Houston were trapped in their trailers for hours while security tried to manage the crowd. The real-life chaos actually helped inform the movie's themes about the challenges of protecting a celebrity. The Miami incident convinced the producers that they needed even more extensive security for the remainder of filming, essentially creating a real bodyguard situation for their movie about bodyguards. Fact 13. The sword scene that nearly killed Kevin Costner. During the climactic sword attack scene, a stunt went wrong and Kevin Costner came within inches of being seriously injured by a real samurai sword that was supposed to be safely controlled. The scene required precise choreography with an actual sharp sword, and when the stunt coordinator's timing was off by a fraction of a second, the blade passed dangerously close to Costner's head. The entire crew gasped as they realized how close they'd come to tragedy. Costner later admitted that seeing the sword flash past his face was genuinely terrifying, and his shocked expression in the final cut is partially real fear rather than acting. The near miss made him reconsider doing his own stunts. The incident was kept quiet during production, but it highlighted the real dangers that bodyguards face when protecting someone from determined attackers. Fact 12. Whitney's costume designer, who became her real-life stylist. The costume designer for The Bodyguard became so close to Whitney Houston during filming that Houston hired her as her personal stylist for the next decade, completely transforming Whitney's public image. The designer understood how to dress Whitney's body perfectly and created looks that made her appear both glamorous and approachable. Their collaboration during the movie led to a deep friendship and professional partnership. Whitney was so impressed with how the costumes made her feel confident on camera that she wanted to capture that same feeling in her real life. The movie wardrobe became the template for her evolving style. The designer later said that working with Whitney was like dressing a real-life princess, someone who had natural elegance but needed help translating it to different contexts and occasions. Fact 11. The hotel suite that cost more than most people's houses. The luxury hotel suite used for Rachel Marron's accommodations cost the production $25,000 per day, making it one of the most expensive filming locations in movie history at the time. The suite was a real presidential penthouse that normally housed heads of state and international dignitaries. Every piece of furniture, artwork, and decoration was authentic and incredibly valuable, requiring special insurance and security measures. The production had to hire additional security just to protect the location's contents during filming. Cast and crew were required to sign special agreements about handling the priceless items in the suite. The expense was justified because the suite's authentic luxury helped Whitney Houston feel genuinely comfortable and confident, which enhanced her performance as a character who was supposed to live in such surroundings. Fact 10. The original ending that would have changed everything. The original script ending had Frank Farmer actually dying while protecting Rachel, creating a tragic love story rather than the bittersweet separation that made it to screen. Test audiences were devastated by the death ending, with many people leaving theaters in tears and expressing anger that their favorite character had been killed. The negative response was so strong that the studio demanded rewrites. Kevin Costner fought to keep the original ending because he felt it was more realistic and emotionally powerful, but market research showed that audiences wanted hope rather than tragedy. The compromise was the airport farewell scene. The change proved financially brilliant. The hopeful ending made the movie more rewatchable and helped it become a massive commercial success rather than a cult tragedy. Fact 9. The real bodyguards who criticized the movie's accuracy. Professional bodyguards were initially critical of the movie's romantic subplot, arguing that real protection specialists would never become emotionally involved with their clients because it compromises their judgment and effectiveness. Security professionals pointed out that Frank Farmer's behavior violated basic protection protocols and would have resulted in his immediate termination from any real protection agency. The romance made good cinema, but terrible security practice. However, many of the same critics later admitted that the movie's technical details about threat assessment, security procedures, and protection strategies were remarkably accurate and well-researched. The film sparked serious discussions within the security industry about professional boundaries and the psychological challenges of protecting high-profile individuals over extended periods. Fact 8. The Japanese sword collector who provided the weapons. The samurai swords used in the climactic scenes came from a private collector who owned one of the world's most valuable Japanese sword collections, with some pieces worth more than luxury cars. The collector was initially reluctant to lend his swords for a Hollywood movie, fearing damage to irreplaceable historical artifacts. He agreed only after extensive negotiations and insurance arrangements worth millions of dollars. Each sword required its own security detail and climate-controlled transportation. The weapons master had to undergo special training in handling ancient Japanese blades before being allowed to work with the collection. The authenticity of the swords added genuine menace to the threat scenes. These were real weapons that could actually kill, making the danger feel more immediate and frightening. Fact 7. The concert venue that launched 1,000 careers. The concert venue used for Rachel Marron's performances became a legendary launching pad for new artists after the Bodyguard's success, with record labels booking unknowns there hoping to recreate Whitney's magic. Music industry executives believed the venue had been blessed by Whitney's performance and would bring good luck to other artists. Booking the location became incredibly expensive and competitive. Several major artists who performed there shortly after the movie's release went on to have breakthrough careers, creating a superstition that the venue was genuinely lucky for musicians. The venue's management capitalized on the connection by creating a Whitney Houston suite and offering special packages for artists wanting to recreate the movie's concert experience. Fact 6. The lipstick message that saved production. During a crucial scene where the stalker leaves a threatening message in lipstick, the original prop lipstick wouldn't write clearly on the mirror, nearly forcing expensive reshoots until a makeup artist suggested using her personal lipstick instead. The scene required multiple takes, and the original prop lipstick kept smudging and looking unprofessional on camera. The production was facing thousands of dollars in delays and location rental extensions. A makeup artist offered her personal Chanel lipstick, which wrote perfectly and created the creepy effect the director wanted. The improvised solution looked so good that they used the same lipstick for all similar scenes. The makeup artist later joked that her expensive lipstick had a better acting credit than most Hollywood extras, and Chanel eventually sent her free products after learning about the movie's success. Fact 5. The airport scene that required FAA approval. The emotional airport farewell scene required special permission from the Federal Aviation Administration because filming inside active airport terminals was heavily restricted due to security concerns. The FAA initially denied the request, arguing that movie crews could pose security risks in sensitive airport areas. The production had to provide detailed security plans and submit to extensive background checks. Real passengers and airport staff can be seen in the background of the scene because the airport remained operational during filming. Some travelers didn't realize they were witnessing movie history being made. The scene became so iconic that the specific airport terminal became a tourist destination, with couples recreating the farewell scene for their own romantic moments. Fact 4. The stunt double, who became Whitney's best friend. Whitney Houston's stunt double during filming became one of her closest friends and continued working with Whitney for years after The Bodyguard, protecting her during concerts and public appearances. The stunt double was chosen partially because of her physical resemblance to Whitney, but they bonded over their shared experiences of being strong women in male-dominated industries. Their friendship extended far beyond the movie. Whitney was so impressed with the stunt double's professionalism and loyalty that she hired her as part of her permanent entourage. The relationship lasted until Whitney's death, with the stunt double serving as friend, protector, and confidante. The stunt double later said that working with Whitney taught her that true protection isn't just about physical safety, it's about emotional support and genuine caring. Fact 3. The record label politics that almost destroyed the soundtrack. Behind the scenes, multiple record labels were fighting over the soundtrack rights, creating political battles that nearly prevented the album from being released in time for the movie's premiere. Whitney's label wanted complete control over the soundtrack, while the movie studio had contractual obligations to other labels for various artists. The negotiations became so contentious that lawyers were involved for months. The fights delayed the album's production and marketing, creating serious concerns that one of the movie's biggest selling points wouldn't be available when the film opened. Several tracks had to be replaced due to legal disputes. The resolution came just weeks before the movie's release, and the rushed timeline actually created better chemistry between the songs and the film's emotional moments. Fact 2. The real-life stalker who targeted Whitney after the movie. After The Bodyguard's release, Whitney Houston attracted a real stalker who seemed to be inspired by the movie's plot, creating genuine danger that required actual bodyguards and security measures. The stalker sent letters referencing specific scenes from the movie and claimed to be protecting Whitney from imaginary threats, just like Kevin Costner's character. The situation became increasingly serious over several months. Police had to coordinate with the FBI because the stalker crossed state lines while pursuing Whitney. The case highlighted how entertainment can sometimes inspire dangerous real-world behavior. Whitney later said that the experience gave her deeper appreciation for the movie's themes about the psychological toll of fame and the genuine need for protection from unstable individuals. Fact 1. The love scene that was never supposed to happen. The passionate love scene between Frank and Rachel wasn't in the original script. It was added during filming when Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston's real-life chemistry became impossible to ignore, creating movie magic that no one had planned. The original script kept their relationship strictly professional, with only subtle romantic tension. But during rehearsals, the undeniable chemistry between Costner and Houston was so powerful that the director realized they needed to capture it on film. The scene was written and filmed in a single day, with both actors improvising much of the dialogue and emotional content. Their natural connection created one of the most believable and passionate love scenes of the 90s. What makes it even more special is that the scene represents a genuine moment of connection between two artists who had found something unexpected while making a movie about protection and trust. Which part shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you think we've earned a pat on the back, please subscribe and do us a favor by sharing this video.